Hello, and welcome back to SpaceChem. Today, we are doing the challenge mission. I did look this up because I was curious as to what chemical compound this was, and it is not a chemical compound. This is constructor, if you read it as Cyrillic instead of being the Latin alphabet. Which, from what little I found online on that, I'm assuming is a reference to an older game by Zachtronics Industries that was called Constructor Engineer of the People, which was a game about building circuits. So, Zachtronics does this kind of game. They've done several of them. But yeah, I'm assuming this is a reference to that. And we'll see what the challenge is about. It's a lot of inputs. It's a lot of outputs. I was kind of expecting to have a double-sized output, like a really big one on this mission, given that we had one of those in the what were they? The lessons, the theory missions up front. But no, we do not. We just have all of this. So we have silicon fragment plus, and silicon fragment minus. I do notice that the bond is missing there, probably because they don't have... Well, what is B? It's not bismuth or something, is it? Boron. Bismuth, I don't even know what bismuth is. Same words. Boron only gets 3 bonds. That makes sense. Okay. It's probably arsenic. Yes. Well, let's double check. Might as well do some education while we're here. It's been a while since I've done chemistry. Yep, arsenic. Chemistry was a fun course in school. I did enjoy that one quite a bit. Alright, so we have our silicon dioxide. And then also storage tanks of arsenic and boron. Oh, I could have just looked over here. That would have been easier. And we have a recycler. Always nice to see a recycler. It gets rid of those annoying issues. Okay, so 5 reactors, 3 outputs. This is what's going to be crazy about this one. And we don't need oxygen at all. So, right away. First thing that we want to do... there's lava there. Okay. Go... okay, I don't really like having it cut off the edge of the screen, but I guess I will for space. I guess the first thing to do is probably just to separate everything out, and then send the oxygen to the recycler. And after that... do I even need sensors? So... this seems to me kind of like the bare minimum of what I'm going to need for this mission. Assignment. Silicon coming out. Now the problem is that what I've done here doesn't actually work, because we need more outputs. If I want the silicon to split 3 ways, the only possible way to do that would be with a 5th reactor. Because I can't split the pipes. This would be 1 pipe going here, and then 1 pipe going here. Is that how we want to do this? Alright, so something like that. Also, the tanks are reversed. So that's a rather silly little thing, but okay. How do I want to do this? Let's just do it like this. So boron is actually going to plus, and arsenic is actually going to minus. And this is going to both of these. Alright, and then... Right, this is still an issue, actually. That's why it's good that we're doing the planning first, because this only works if I have silicon and silicon, but then I don't have any oxygen output. Well, I'm pretty certain about this stage. This is absolutely correct. I need... I need the oxygen to go out to the recycler. There's no way around that. So I think instead, silicon, maybe we just make the silicon fragment. Okay, we are reset pipes. We are rethinking things. Okay, let's just do oxygen out the top. And do that. Okay. So oxygen is just out of the way, we don't care. I don't need to... Yeah, it just says recycler. Yeah. So this is going to be silicon. From here, maybe we just make silicon fragment directly. Maybe that's the plan. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It doesn't really matter, but that'll get us 9 silicons. And that goes in. And then this is going to output to this factory. I get 2 more. This factory is going to, I guess, remove the center. Doesn't have to, but since we're using the factory to split anyway, we might as well also use it to do something. Doesn't matter. And then... No, we don't want to do that. That's making things complicated. We're actually going to use these. And that's going to be the central silicon. This is going to be recycled. And then there's an additional complication where this has to be set up in such a way where it's going to go up once and then down at least once, but ideally twice. And then this is going to have to alternate between going up and down, which is fine. That's doable. This is getting a little bit awkward, though. Okay. Give myself a little bit more space to maneuver. Let's see, you go down and then you go up. Boron goes to boron, arsenic goes to arsenic. This looks right. Okay. And making this structure shouldn't be that bad once I've separated it out. So I think honestly the challenge of this mission is going to be the planning stage, which I've already done. And now that I've done this, I don't immediately foresee any particular issues. I think this is just going to work. Assuming that I can get the line this up with sinks or whatever to have it go 1 and 2. I could even just go 1 and 1. If you get excess in here, it's fine. That would just be super inefficient. I know for sure I can do 1 and 1. But yeah, so we could go 1 and 2. Okay, and let's actually, so upper output, I could add a note, but it's just going to the recycler. Well, I can add a note anyway. Doesn't matter. Okay. Edit. Can I delete the note? I guess if I do that. Yeah, okay. Lower output. We can do whatever we want here. I'm gonna go... I think I might as well just do that. And that'll make this really easy. Lower output. Don't really need to do this, but I'm going to, just to make everything nice and clear so that when I'm working, I make sure everything inputs and outputs in the exact spots that I intend them to do. Alright, and then here, I mean, this is literally just doing the same thing, because... Is there a way to copy these? We'll get rid of it on this, so it should just show in the reactor. Yep, so they're showing, but they're not here. That's good. We'll keep this one. So silicon and boron coming in, silicon and arsenic coming in. I don't think I need to do anything with those. Alright, so let's get started on the first reactor. Now the potential complication here is that I need to use 7 of these if I'm going to destroy something. Completely debond everything. I think actually that's all I need, because I might as well just rebond in the center. So let's actually move this back to the center, because that gives us space around the edge to maneuver things with. And it doesn't matter which one we're doing. We're going to input, we're going to grab, go up, and actually we'd rather grab on an oxygen because we need to clear all the oxygens out. So let's start with a Q- here. Recycler, yeah, so it doesn't matter which spot I take. I was probably going to just do that, but honestly it could be anywhere. So we'll start with this. Drop. Grab it here. And then I guess after dropping we need to output. Grab this oxygen. This is going to be super slow. I mean, we can output wherever we want. So it doesn't matter. So I'll just do that. Okay, we probably want to move this stuff. I'm not liking how it's going. We're going to move it again. We don't want to go through there. I mean, okay, we could just do that. I mean, if I do all of this, I can't actually get around to this again, can I? Well, let's not grab this then. Doesn't matter where we have the output, we'll just put it there, sure. And once we've grabbed this one and this one, okay. I'm just going to use a sink to make things easier for myself. This is a grab. Specifically, I don't like leaving it as a grab drop unless I absolutely need to. Drop. So we are responsible for this one on blue. Drop an output. Grab and bond. This should give us those three like that. Means if we rotate this way and drop here, I think this works. And then we'll have our output here. Let's test it. Fail. Test it again. Okay, we skipped the output because it doesn't matter. Excellent. And this is going to be the most complicated of the reactors. This is my expectation. I guess this doesn't need to go as long. Oh, okay, I need a second sink. Do I? I think that's good, and I don't see, because I have sinks, like the only way this is going to jam is if it's unable to output, and if it's unable to output, the sinks are going to stop. So I think this actually just works like this. And then all of these being... Yeah, all of these being on different spots doesn't actually matter. Okay. I really don't like the way that it's probably obvious if you've been watching me play, but I really don't like the way the exit level button is pushed here. Because when you're in here, exit reactor, so I'm just kind of used to canceling out of things by clicking in that spot on the screen. That's a little UI thing that could be done better. Alright, well. This one Should be pretty straightforward. The potential complication here is that ideally we have 1 up and 2 down, which I might be able to do. I might be able to set up. So let's start with input grab. Drop. Input. See, this is getting pretty messy. It's better, I think, if I do something like this. Is it? It's better if I have this outputting in a different spot, honestly. Well, let's go back then and change the output. Because that is a tool that I have available to me. Yep, no problem. Edit note. Just fix that. Okay. And the reason for that is it lets me do a 3rd line around the top. Okay. Wait, what am I doing? Here... Oh, are we going to have this issue again? Well, there's a couple of issues, actually. We can't move this way when we're grabbing it there. It would be more convenient if it was over 1 more. Like being at the edge. But the other issue is that we're going to get double bonds by doing this. I had this issue before when I was doing this kind of thing. Well, I think an easy fix for this, which, well, let's go fix this first. Make sure it's over 1 more. Yep. Okay. I mean, I guess I could have the start there. Doesn't really matter. So now when I grab at the edge, I move over and I don't hit the side. But that's fine. Drop, it's fine. We are not bonding yet. Remove those. We're not bonding yet. Okay, so this is a much more elegant solution than the last time I did something like this. Because I think what's going to happen now is... Well, let's test this and make sure it's doing what I think it is. So I was told I can do something like this as well if I want to. There we go. Put a pause in there just to rush it to when this is relevant. On does nothing. I guess I should have put a second pause. Alright, so it just did the one. Alright, so if I do something like this, doesn't that just solve the issue? Let's put another pause here. There we go. Yeah, that pause is really nice. There we go. Nice. So I actually needed 2 bonders, not 6. And then we just park this down here, I guess. We'll go down, do a drop, do a grab. Do we need to do that? That will make it so that I'm holding the bottom corner, yes, because I want to drop the bottom corner here. So now... I'm wondering... Because if I want the ratio right, 1 up and 2 down, I think that's going to be too complicated. I could probably make it work, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to get the 1 up, 1 down, and then have a long solution. I think I'll be okay with that. I mean, I still don't quite have it working because... Well, I don't need to reuse these bonders. Okay. Let's be smarter about this and not reuse these bonders. So right now it's like this. So if I go up here, do an input, grab, that is going to collide, so we'll move this over 1. And then here we drop and grab, and that centers us from... Changed where the input was. Almost made a mistake. Okay. Drop, grab, and from here, when we get to here, we just go bond, bond, bond. That should give us the thing that we want. Then from here we go up. And we basically just go back to the center. We drop here. We are on the bottom corner currently. Output. Good. I still have my pauses. Let's add another one here. This pause is just in case we don't have a thing right away, which we won't. Good, we did the transfer, we got the bonds, and we outputted. Okay. It's going to be super slow. Super slow. So we have a working solution. Excellent. So what do we do? Well, we do one of these. And by doing the sinks like this, I think having them offset, we're going to only have one going at a time. And then we should just need to copy this whole thing on the blue. Only we put the output here. Oh, that's really dangerous, having these sinks here. Okay, well, we'll deal with that in a moment. Output. Drop output. Instead of this drop output. Let's just put these sinks up here instead. And that way... we're not worrying about there being a molecule here while we're waiting. Okay. So sinks are done, drop outputs are done, so everything else should just be a copy. Our inputs. Like a million grabs. Actually, not that many. There's a drop over here. There's a drop over here. Okay. Pause. We will put these in as well so that we can test it. And is that everything? I think that's everything. The first one, blue is just waiting. The second one is going through. Excellent. And the fact that this is super inefficient doesn't really matter. Because we're still waiting here. So the main issue is the fact that we're not going to have an even ratio. That's fine. This is the thing that we wanted. Okay. Well, that's obviously a problem. Yes. Okay, we'll put the sink here. The output has to be after the drop. Yes, okay. So let's make sure the output's actually working as intended. Output in the right position, not that it matters. We got 1. Okay. So now this should be the same as what red just did. I mean, I guess it could be. going slower, but I mean, it's the same thing. I don't think there's any issues here. Dropped it in the bottom right, or sorry, the bottom, yeah, bottom right, but the bottom, or top left of the bottom right. And then blue is waiting, and red gets to go through again, and everything seems to be working. Okay, good. Delete all of these pauses because I don't want to have to deal with that when I'm actually doing the solution later. All right. Easy. Wow. And I'm only using 4, so I could actually use the sensor and possibly do things more efficiently, since I don't need these. But that's something to consider for probably never, because I don't think I'll be revisiting this, most likely. But something just to be aware of if I have to do something more complicated in the future, I guess. Alright, this one. Well, this is going to be super easy. Probably even just need the 1. And what we're going to do here, grab, grab, yeah, I guess we have to do it this way. It's a little bit awkward, but oh, no, this is awful in all sorts of ways. Okay. Okay, let's just... This is the easy one. Don't make it harder than you need to. So the easiest way to deal with this, probably, just to grab it up here. Drop. That's in the same position. Output. Input. Grab from the bottom. And then do that. Drop. Output. Okay. This is, okay, well, I mean, it's got 1 in each. I'm going to... Oh, and I can mouse over it to see in detail that it is in the right position. Okay. Stress test. It seems to alternate between the two just fine. Oh man, 38,000 cycles and I'm not even done this yet. I didn't check... the information was available, but I didn't check how many cycles long the solution was for this. That's something, though. Okay, well... Let's see. So the hard part about this is going to be taking out the atom in the center. This is like, immediately I see this is a lot more complicated than I initially gave it credit for. But I can take all the time I want here because the backlog is happening elsewhere in the factory. It doesn't matter how inefficient I am. Alright, so we want something like that. And because of rotation, it will not matter where the bond is, so I don't have to worry about getting the orientation right of this on the way out, just because this is the final product. Okay, so without thinking about things too much here, we're going to input, we're going to grab. And if we output like this, or debond like that, what should happen is that the entire center, like the center atom will be isolated, but we will still have the full ring connected. That's not great, because we're immediately going to have a collision as we drag the ring into this. So if we do that, these corners will also be disconnected. So we're going to end up with like a little C here. And then these four are all isolated, which is fine. Now we have a recycler. So let's just drop the thing that we're carrying and output it. We don't need it. Now the thing that's awkward about this is the only way I'm going to get this out is by using the blue. Yeah. Oh man, I'm already really not liking this. Okay, this is way harder than I thought it would be. I mean, there is the option that in this, like, this is super simple and isn't doing anything. So we could actually do part of this process here. Like, yeah, I think we want to. We want to change this. And what we actually want to output is that. We can't because we don't have access to a recycler in this stage. Did that do anything? It did, okay. Never mind, we're stuck with what we got. Okay. Yeah, because like I would love to just get one of these out, but I can't because reasons. Okay. Don't have a recycler. So in this case then, I am using all my reactors. So we're grabbing we are grabbing this to move it out and get rid of it. Good, we've done the recycling. Now we need to grab this and move it out. I think the easiest way to do that is going to be to grab this, drop it here, if we grab while we're currently holding something, I don't think it actually does anything. So we'll grab, should be able to come out this way. And from here, we're now holding a silicon. And this should be relatively open. So now we run the sink. Drop. Grab. Drop. That moves this back into place. Let's just drop here. Now we grab this one. So at this stage, right, because we still have atoms here and here. So at this stage, we do this. That should fix everything. And then we need to get back to here. Oh, I forgot the input. It's important. So we're currently holding it at this location. Well, it doesn't matter. It's just this output. That's the easiest way to do it. Drop. Output. Alright, start. Input, grab, pause. Let's test if this works. Grab did nothing. Okay. Immediately, let's just fix the issue. That's the recyclers, so it doesn't matter. Okay, yep, we are grabbing what I thought we were. Excellent. This comes in. We move that back around. And it even gave us the right orientation. I guess it just kind of arbitrarily decides which ones. I don't know if it's probably not random, but that's fine. And that was the thing that we needed. Excellent. So just a couple other little fixes here. We need another sink here to start this, and it really doesn't. Whoops. Really doesn't matter when we run that back, but watch it one more time just to make sure that my final little edits didn't throw anything off. We do have two sinks per track, so that should be good. But yeah, this part was a little bit tricky. I guess I didn't need to pull it out that far, huh? Oh well, it works. And like I said, this is the... Oh, max bonds, okay. Not the part that we're waiting on. Like here, we're waiting here. So the fact that this goes out, pulls it out further than it needs to, ultimately makes approximately 0 difference. Maybe I'll have my final score might be like 2 cycles higher or something. It doesn't matter. Alright. And now I think I literally just duplicate this. Save to toolbox. Silicon converter, whatever. We'll just go silicon. And yeah, those pipes are pretty straightforward. Just drag a silicon here. Put our pause back in. To make sure that this works as intended. So all this part should be the same. then here we got the other atom. And yeah, this should just do 4 bonds. The only thing where it could potentially be messing up, but it is not. We have 4 bonds on the arsenic. Drop it, got a point. Good. Alright, so everything is working, and when I hit this 4, it should finish pretty much instantly. What's happening here? Oh. Well, let's delete the pause. Yep. Oh boy. Challenge complete. Challenge constructor. Okay. 24,000 cycles. Not bad. Yeah, okay. Nobody managed to do this in one reactor. Obviously, you need enough outputs to split things. Well, you know, all things considered, I think that went fairly well. Definitely the planning phase up front helped quite a bit. And next up, we have our defense mission for the planet, More Than Machine. I will see you then.